Drafting with Numot is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com and GatheringMagic.com. Explore the game.
Here we are with round one with our green-black tokens deck. I guess it's more of a sacrifice deck than a tokens deck, but you know what I mean. Gonna go ahead and play first here, and yeah, have a nice hand. Turn 1 Rusalka, turn 2 Plagued Ripper, got a Bone Splinters, Dread Drone for later on in the game. Yeah, definitely warrants a keep. Drawing Reassembling Skeleton here would be really powerful. But then again, I think any point in time, if we ever draw Reassembling Skeleton with this deck, we're going to be pretty happy. Okay, opponent keeps on 6. And off to the races we go with our sweet little 1-1. An opposing black deck, huh? Alright. I'm actually just going to play another swamp here. Give less information to the opponent, and gives us more black sources to sack with our Plagued Rusalka. Ooh, black-red, okay. Well, Kite Sail is definitely something I'm okay with seeing this turn. Our opponent's probably on the more aggressive red-black Bloodthirst deck, but I think this deck has a really good matchup against it. Not only do we have a bunch of tokens, we have a bunch of cheap, efficient removal as well. Like, if the opponent plays anything here, I can easily just kill it. Oh, Ashmore Gouger is a very scary one. Remember, we passed 2 of those during the draft, but luckily for us, that is a card that cannot block. And, well, we drew one of our best win conditions in the form of Scavenger Drake. Originally, I was going to go ahead and just Bone Splinters up the Ashmore Gouger, but after drawing the Drake, in conjunction with having Bone Splinters and Plagued Rusalka, yeah, this Drake, if it doesn't get dealt with, is going to be very, very scary. Alright, so we see a Kite Sail equip. Definitely just taking the damage here. And a Goblin Fire Slinger, which is not long for this world. Boilerworks signifies either a splash, could be something like Electrolyze, or just playing it as a value land. Have a very good turn here. Yes, I would like to use the ability. So play the Nest Invader that we just drew. Use Plagued Rusalka to sack the Eldrazi token to kill the Fire Slinger. Now we're going to Bone Splinters the, well, yes. Now we're going to Bone Splinters the Ashmore Gouger with our Nest Invader. I know we're losing a 2-2, but we're also gaining 2 damage off the Scavenger Drake, and we get a bash in. So the opponent has to deal with just about every single one of our creatures and is kind of stuck on mana, so that doesn't look too too much like something that they're able to do here. Now remember, the opponent mulliganed to 6, so it's very possible that they kept a sketchy hand. But really good information that we're playing against the black-red aggro deck. In which case, Shrivel could be a consideration. I'm not going to bring it in, because it's great against us as well, but depending on if we see a Game 3 or more cards in Game 2, you know, we could definitely bring it in. In fact, you know what? Our sideboard is maybe not so good. I guess Sundering could be a consideration. We saw the Kite Sail, and I would bet you that the opponent has at least one other target for it, but that doesn't mean I would want to bring this in. It's possible I can cut the Culling Dias. This card is not necessarily something that you want in a more aggressive matchup like this. It's a little bit too slow and dirtily. I could also consider bringing in Sylvan Bounty. Not only does it let me cycle early if I'm missing lands, or I can just, you know, get more swamps for my black activated abilities. It's also really good late game versus their deck. They're trying to go all in against you, and gaining 8 life is definitely something good. Alright, I think we'll actually sideboard the Sylvan Bounty and see how this goes. Okay, Game 2, opponents on the play, kept their 7. I mean, obviously I would keep this hand with a swamp, but I think I'm going to go ahead and mulligan it. We do have 1 play, and again, we get 2 draw steps at finding a swamp, but even then I don't think it's that good. And this one's also very bad. I think it's closer to a keep, though, than the first hand, just because we have Algae Gharial in conjunction with all these removal spells. Alright, this one I'm going to keep. It might look worse than the first hand, but I think it's better. Okay, Predator is not a bad draw when we have Gharial in hand. Obviously a swamp next turn would be the Stone Cold Nuts. Bloodthrone Vampire, also not what we're looking for. Alright, gonna need a swamp. Opponent played out a Dusk Hunter bet, which probably means they're gonna play like a Ogre here. Ooh, Dark Confidant and a tap land. Okay. There's our swamp. I'd really, really like to hold on to Grim Affliction until we had Gharial out, but it's too important to just kill the card advantage right now, especially in a deck that has a bunch of low drops. Next turn, if we hit a land, we're just jamming the Gharial, and that might actually just win the game by itself, honestly, unless the opponent plays like a Gorehorn Minotaur here. Well then. Alright. Still jamming the... No? Okay, now it becomes a little bit interesting. I think we actually play the Kozilek's Predator here. We chump the Gorehorn with one of our Eldrazi spawn. Next turn we can play Gharial and hopefully Bone Splinters away the Gorehorn. It's actually possible I just want to take the 6 damage. That guarantees me that I'm able to cast Gharial and then Bone Splinters the Gorehorn with one of my tokens. You know what, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I know taking 5 damage is not something that you want to do versus this deck, but I think it's the correct play. Okay, land here would be nice. Come on, baby. Nice, okay. Alright, we're just jamming the Gharial out. And gonna go ahead and just Bone Splinters that away. Alright, and our Gharial's already a 3/3. And I can sack our Eldrazi spawn at instant speed to make it a 4/4. If it comes down to that. Okay, so that tells us the opponent doesn't have a pump spell if he's not willing to attack with the Blood Ogre. He obviously sees the onboard trick of Eldrazi spawn. And Necrogenesis! Alright! Wow, that's great. We have Bloodthrone Vampire in conjunction with Necrogenesis. So now I can actually afford to start racing in with the Gharial. Wow, that was an absurd draw. Yep. Gonna go and eat one of the creatures in the graveyard to put another counter on. I think we are in great shape. Gharial's, like I said before, one of our best win conditions, as is Necrogenesis. We just have to try to be a little bit careful of getting burned out of the game. But currently, I mean, we have a really nice engine going on. Can even afford to attack with Bloodthrone now. See how the opponent wants to block, if at all. Opponent could also be considering putting in a... Ooh, if they have like a Spite Bellows to put in with the Incandescent, that could be bad for us. I think the opponent might be dead here. Not blocking. Alright, well, let's start with Necrogenesis on his token, or Dark Confidant. So I can... Every time I sack to Bloodthrone Vampire, that's adding effectively 3 damage. So 3, 6, 9, 12. I'm adding... Yeah, so we can go for the kill. And I think we will. That's 14 as it is. Alright, let's get rid of the Kozilek's Predator. And the opponent scoops! Just like that, we show the power of the Algae Gharial, the Bloodthrone Vampire, and the Necrogenesis Wombo combo. So, yeah, we were about to do 17 points of damage there to the opponent, who shows us that they had a Death Mark in hand, but like I said before, Algae Gharial, one of the best win cons you can get in green, especially in a deck like this. So, great match 1 for us, and we'll see you guys back for round 2. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for watching Drafting with Numot. If you haven't already subscribed to Gathering Magic, you can do so to receive news of upcoming videos and discover new content. You can also check out our playlist that contains every episode of Drafting with Numot. And don't forget, you can easily watch the next video by clicking on the annotation on screen or a direct link in the video's description box. And as always, thanks for watching.